You've seen it happen. You're standing in line for coffee or walking through a store, and a younger woman catches your eye. She smiles. For a split second you feel noticed, maybe even flattered. But then the doubt creeps in. You tell yourself, she probably smiles at everyone. I'm invisible now. I'm just another older guy. And you brush it off. But here's what most men miss. That smile isn't always random. Sometimes it's a response to something deeper. Not your hairline, not your clothes, not your age. It's your presence. The calm, steady energy that only comes with experience. The quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove himself. The truth is, younger women often notice older men for reasons that have nothing to do with flash or noise. They pick up on your stillness when others are frantic. They sense the weight of your gaze when you're not chasing approval. They feel safer, more curious, more drawn in, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't have to say. If you've ever felt invisible or convinced yourself that age automatically makes you less desirable, this video is going to flip that story on its head. Because what you think is a weakness may actually be your greatest advantage. Today we're breaking down exactly why those smiles happen, what they really mean, and how you can step into the power you've been overlooking. Let's get into it. Number 1. Her smile means more than you think. Most men shrug it off. A younger woman smiles at them, and the first thought is, she's just being polite. Or worse, she probably didn't even mean it. That's the trap older men fall into. They dismiss signals because they've convinced themselves they're invisible. But here's the truth, that smile often carries more weight than you realize. Take Robert, 52, a construction manager from Dallas. One afternoon he stopped by a coffee shop on his way home. While waiting for his order, a woman in her late 20s glanced up from her laptop, caught his eye and smiled. It wasn't a long stare, just a quick, genuine smile. Robert felt it, then instantly brushed it off. He told himself, she's just friendly, nothing to it. But what he didn't see was her second glance. When he walked away, the subtle curiosity she couldn't hide. You see, younger women aren't just smiling at older men out of politeness. They're responding to something deeper. It's not about perfect hair or flashy clothes. It's about presence. The calm energy of a man who has weathered storms and no longer needs to chase validation. It's about the way you hold yourself when you're not scrambling for attention. Women notice stability in a world that's often chaotic. When you're not rushing, not performing, not desperately trying to prove yourself, you radiate something magnetic. That smile is often her way of saying, I see that. It's not always an invitation, but it's rarely meaningless. It's a recognition of your energy. Think about Sarah, 29, a marketing professional from Chicago. She once admitted to a friend that she found herself smiling more at men in their 40s and 50s than guys her own age. Why? In her words, they just seem grounded, like they're not trying too hard. It feels different. That grounded energy makes women curious, and curiosity is the seed of attraction. But here's the problem too, many men ignore it. They dismiss the smile, look away, or instantly doubt themselves. In doing so, they miss the truth that these subtle signals are signs of respect, recognition, even admiration. And when you keep brushing them off, you reinforce the lie that you're invisible. The key is to reframe the moment. Instead of thinking, she didn't mean it, remind yourself, she noticed me. Because she did. That's why the smile happened. And when you learn to accept that recognition without overthinking, you start showing up differently. You stop shrinking. You begin to own your presence. This is where Stoicism ties in beautifully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your first thought is self-doubt, you kill the moment before it even breathes. If your thought is confidence, you honor the truth." She smiled because she felt something in you worth noticing. So next time it happens, don't dismiss it. Don't make it bigger than it is, but don't make it smaller either. Let it be what it is, a subtle acknowledgement of your presence. Accept it, own it. Carry yourself with the calm awareness of a man who knows his value. If you've ever brushed off a smile like it didn't matter, drop this in the comments. I see my worth. And stick around, because in the next part, we're going to talk about why your presence speaks louder than performance and how that shift changes everything about the way women experience you. Number 2. Presence beat performance. Here's the mistake most men make. They think women are drawn to the show, the big gestures, the witty one-liners, the expensive dinner, the carefully curated outfit. Performance. And yes, sometimes that gets a glance, but it rarely holds attention. What holds attention, what keeps women coming back in their minds long after, is presence. Presence is quiet. It's steady. It doesn't try to steal the spotlight because it doesn't need to. Presence is the energy you carry when you walk into a room without saying a word, and people still notice. It's the stillness in your eyes, the calm in your body language, the sense that you're grounded no matter what happens around you. Now let's be real. Younger men often rely on performance because they don't yet have presence. They fill silence with jokes, flex muscles in conversations, or talk too loudly in a bar. They're trying to prove themselves because deep down they don't feel established. But women, especially when they're smiling at older men, aren't looking for another performance. They've seen enough of that. They're drawn to something else entirely, the man who doesn't need to prove. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's presence. You don't argue. You don't convince. You don't explain yourself endlessly. You simply are. Your actions, your silence, your calm speak louder than any words could. Think about it. Performance fades as soon as the lights go down, but presence lingers. It's not about how funny your joke was. It's about how she felt when you looked at her without rushing to impress. It's not about the story you told, it's about the steadiness she felt in your voice. Presence is not about doing more, it's about being more. And here's the paradox. When you stop performing, you actually stand out more. Because most men around you are trapped in the cycle of proving, showing, competing. When you don't play that game, you create contrast. And contrast creates attraction. Epictetus captured this in a simple truth. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Presence is exactly that. It's your reaction, or better yet, your non-reaction. When others get flustered, you stay composed. When others fight for attention, you give none, and suddenly everyone gives theirs to you. Presence is magnetic because it signals inner control, and inner control is rare. Women pick up on that in seconds. They smile because they sense it, even if they can't explain it. They feel something stable in you that makes them curious, that makes them lean in. So stop overcompensating. Stop performing. Start cultivating presence. Slow your movements. Own your silence. Let your energy fill the space instead of your words. Because that's what she remembers. Not the noise, not the flash, but the weight of your calm. If you've been stuck in performance mode and you're ready to step into presence, write it in the comments, "I own my calm." And stay with me, because next we'll uncover how experience turns into confidence and why that quiet strength is often more powerful than anything you could ever say. Number 3. Experience creates confidence. Confidence isn't something you fake. It isn't memorizing lines from a book or trying to act like someone you're not. Real confidence is the byproduct of experience. It's built over years of wins and losses, mistakes and lessons, storms weathered and storms survived. That's why older men carry a kind of confidence younger men can't just copy. Take David, 48, from Seattle. He's been through a divorce, built his business from scratch, and raised 2 kids into adulthood. When he walks into a room, he doesn't try to be the loudest voice. He doesn't rush to prove he belongs. He knows who he is because life already tested him and he's still standing. That quiet confidence is exactly what women notice. One evening at a dinner party, he met Emily, 34, a friend of a friend. As the night went on, Emily told him later that what caught her attention wasn't his story or his appearance, it was the way he listened. Calm, steady, no nerves, no rushing to impress. She said, "I felt like he'd already lived a whole life and didn't need me to validate him." That was attractive. You see, experience strips away the need for approval. When you've faced real challenges, career setbacks, health scares, failed relationships, you stop worrying about whether your shirt is perfect or if your joke landed. You know life is bigger than that. And women pick up on that perspective instantly. Younger men often mistake volume for confidence. They brag, they exaggerate, they show off. But true confidence isn't about showing off. It's about not needing to. It's being okay with silence. It's being comfortable in your own skin. It's being able to say less and mean more because your presence is built on years of living, not minutes of trying. Here's where Stoicism reinforces the point. Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Every difficulty you've gone through has forged a steadiness that can't be faked. That steadiness is what younger women sense when they smile at you. They're not seeing a flawless man, they're seeing a man who's been tested and refined. Think about it. When you've been through failure and bounced back, rejection doesn't rattle you. When you've faced stress before a heated argument doesn't scare you. When you've navigated loss, you don't panic at small problems. That calm response, that's confidence. And that's the kind of energy that makes women lean in. Emily admitted later, "I didn't smile at him because he was older. I smiled because he felt stable, like I could relax around him." That's the gift of experience. It doesn't just give you stories, it gives you presence, and presence rooted in experience is confidence at its highest level. So don't downplay the years you've lived. Don't call yourself invisible. Every scar, every lesson, every late night spent figuring things out has built the man you are now. That's the confidence younger women notice, even if they can't explain it. If you're ready to own that truth, write it in the comments, "I earned my confidence." And keep watching, because next we're going to break down why calm energy is more magnetic than looks, and how that shift completely changes the way women experience you. Number 4. Calm energy pulls her in. Think about the last time you walked into a room full of noise. People talking over each other, nervous, laughter, energy bouncing everywhere. Now imagine one man sitting quietly relaxed, steady. He's not fidgeting. He's not rushing to join the noise. He's calm. Who do you notice first? That's the paradox. Calm energy pulls more attention than the loudest voice in the room. Younger women sense this faster than you realize. They're used to men competing for their attention, jokes flying, compliments pouring in, constant performance. But when you show up grounded, unshaken by the noise, you stand out without trying. That's why a smile slips out. Not because of what you said, but because of the way you didn't need to say anything. Calm energy is powerful because it communicates control. Not control over her, not control over the situation, but control over yourself. It tells her, "I'm steady no matter what happens." And that steadiness is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the heart of calm energy. You're not trying to bend the world to your will. You're not overreacting to every glance or every word. You're choosing composure. You're owning your state of mind. And women pick up on that almost instantly. Here's what happens when you embody calm energy. Conversations feel different. You're not rushing to fill every silence, so pauses carry weight. You're not leaning forward, desperate for approval, so your body language radiates assurance. You don't look like a man chasing you, look like a man who already knows his value. And here's the secret. Calm energy isn't passive. It doesn't mean sitting back lifeless hoping she notices you. It means active control over your emotions. It means staying centered when others are anxious, smiling when others get flustered, slowing down when others speed up. That's what draws people in. That's what makes younger women curious. They don't smile because of the shirt you're wearing. They smile because they feel safer around you than they do around men their age who are still figuring themselves out. They feel the difference between energy that's frantic and energy that's anchored. And trust me, anchored always wins. Epictetus once said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him." Calm energy is freedom from being mastered by moods, reactions, or chaos. It's leadership without shouting. It's attraction without effort. So the next time you find yourself in a social setting, remember, calm isn't weakness. Calm is presence. Calm is power. And calm is the reason she notices you when you least expect it. If you're ready to claim that power, write it in the comments. I choose calm. And if you want to go deeper into this, if you want tools, practices, and frameworks to build unshakable calm energy in every area of your life, consider joining as a channel member. Inside, we break down advanced Stoic strategies and relationship psychology designed to help you master not just moments, but your entire mindset. Because when you cultivate calm, you don't just attract attention, you command respect. Number 5. Trust is more attractive than looks. Every man knows the pressure of looks. We're told again and again that youth, a lean body, and a sharp jawline are what women want. And yes, physical attraction plays a role. But here's the truth. Most men overlook, looks fade, but trust endures. And when a woman senses she can trust you, that trust is more attractive than anything in the mirror. Let's talk about Mark 50 from Phoenix. He's not in cover model shape, he's not tall, and he's got grey in his beard. But what he has is reliability. He shows up when he says he will. He listens without judgment. He doesn't make promises he can't keep. And because of that, women around him feel safe. One evening at a friend's gathering, he met Lisa, 31, who admitted later to her friend that she found herself drawn to him not because of his looks, but because she felt she could relax in his presence. Lisa said, "With him, I didn't feel like I had to be on guard. He was calm, steady. That made him so much more attractive." That's the essence of it. Trust beats looks. Because looks can capture attention for a moment, but trust keeps attention for the long run. Younger women may notice a sharp suit or strong shoulders, but what makes them smile is deeper. It's the sense that you are who you say you are, that you won't break under pressure, that you're not just performing, you're real. This is where experience comes into play. Older men have an advantage because life has taught them lessons. They've been through enough to know the value of honesty, follow-through, and boundaries. They don't need to exaggerate or fake, and that authenticity radiates trust. In relationships, trust creates freedom. When a woman feels she can trust you, she doesn't waste energy second-guessing. She doesn't wonder if you'll flake out, if you're hiding something, or if you're just putting on a show. That peace of mind is magnetic. It allows her to lean in because she knows she won't collapse if she does. Looks can spark attraction, but trust builds desire. And the truth is, women of every age want desire that lasts. They want to invest in someone they don't have to babysit, someone who won't crumble at the first sign of stress. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Living by that principle creates trust automatically, because when your actions and words align, people feel it, women feel it. And that integrity is sexier than six-pack abs. Mark's story proves it. Lisa wasn't smiling at a handsome stranger. She was smiling at the steady energy of a man who had nothing to hide. She didn't care about the grey hair or the laugh lines. She cared about the feeling of safety, and that feeling is priceless. So if you've been beating yourself up over age, hair, or appearance, stop. Work on trust. Be the man who shows up. Be the man whose yes means yes and whose no means no. That's the man women remember. That's the man they lean into. If you're ready to shift your focus from looks to trust, drop this in the comments. I build trust. And keep watching, because next we're going to break down why you're not invisible and how reclaiming your power changes everything about how women see you. Number 6. You're not invisible, you're powerful. One of the biggest lies men tell themselves as they get older is this: I don't get noticed anymore. I'm invisible. And because they repeat that story often enough, they start living like it's true. They slouch in the background, avoid eye contact, stop carrying themselves with pride, and then wonder why no one looks their way. But here's the reality: you're not invisible, you're powerful. You just forgot to own it. Younger women don't smile at older men out of pity. They don't notice calm energy because they're being polite. They respond because there's something about you that feels different. In a world full of noise and performance, you stand out when you're centered. The problem isn't that women don't notice, it's that you dismiss the signals when they do. This invisible belief is poison. It shrinks your presence, it kills your confidence, and it convinces you to play small. And when you play small, yes, you look invisible. But that's not the truth. That's the mask you've chosen. The truth is that experience, calm and masculine steadiness have a weight that younger men simply don't have yet. That weight is your power. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. That's the pivot. Stop obsessing over outside validation. Stop measuring yourself against younger men, against hairlines, against body types. None of that defines your value. What defines you is the mindset you bring into the room. If you carry yourself like you're invisible, people will believe you. If you carry yourself like you know your worth, people will believe that too. Think about it. When you walk into a space with quiet confidence, shoulders back, calm, eye contact, no need to rush or prove you command attention without asking for it. That's power. It's not the desperate energy of chasing approval. It's the steady energy of a man who already knows who he is. Women notice that. They feel it. They respond to it. The irony is that the more you convince yourself you're invisible, the more you actually make yourself disappear. You avoid looking at her. You brush off her smile. You act like it never happened. And so you rob yourself of the recognition that was already there. But when you choose to shift the story, when you replace "I'm invisible" with "I'm powerful," your energy changes. You stop ignoring those moments and start owning them. You begin to see what was always there. You're not overlooked, you're underestimated. And underestimated men have an edge. Because when you finally show up with your full presence, it shocks people. It reminds them of something rare. You are not invisible. You're a man who's lived, endured, and learned. That doesn't make you fade, it makes you stand out. The only question is whether you'll own it. If you're ready to drop the invisible lie and step into power, write it in the comments, "I own my power." And stick around, because next we'll explore why masculine strength doesn't need approval and how letting go of that need makes you impossible to ignore. Number 7. Masculine strength needs no words. Real strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. You can spot it the moment a man walks in, not because he's flexing, not because he's talking big, but because of the way he carries himself in silence. Masculine strength is felt, not spoken, and that's exactly why it's so magnetic to women. Let's take an example. James, 55, works in finance. He's not flashy, he doesn't dominate conversations, and he's never been the loudest guy at the table. But what he has is composure. At a networking dinner, he met Anna, 35, a marketing consultant. James didn't try to impress her with stories about money or trips. He asked a few simple questions, listened more than he spoke, and when the group conversation turned heated about business politics, he stayed calm. Later, Anna told a friend that what drew her in wasn't anything he said. It was the way he didn't need to prove himself. That's the point. Masculine strength is quiet. It's the steady eye contact when everyone else looks away. It's the calm response when others lose their temper. It's the decision you make without waiting for approval. It's the confidence to sit in silence knowing your presence says enough. Younger men often mistake noise for strength. They brag about conquests, raise their voices, or try to dominate attention. But women can sense the difference instantly. Noise is insecurity dressed up. Quiet strength is security revealed. And that's the difference between attraction that lasts and attraction that fades. The Stoics captured this centuries ago. Epictetus wrote, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. A man rooted in his strength doesn't rattle at every bump in the road. He doesn't spiral when things don't go his way. He trusts himself. That trust radiates without needing a single boastful word." Anna later admitted that what impressed her wasn't James's resume but his steadiness. He just felt grounded, like he'd been through enough not to need validation anymore. That made me relax. That's how masculine strength works. It creates space for others to feel safe, curious, and open. Here's the irony. The men who talk the most about how strong they are usually aren't. The men who don't need to talk about it usually are. Strength is shown in how you respond to challenge, not how you describe yourself. It's in the pause before you react, the restraint when you could explode, the discipline when no one is watching. And that's exactly why younger women notice older men. They can feel the difference. They can sense when a man has lived through enough storms to carry calm in his bones. That strength doesn't need explanation, it speaks without words. So stop trying to convince. Stop trying to explain. Let your strength show in your silence, in your choices, in your presence. That's what she notices. That's why she smiles. If you're ready to step into that quiet strength, write it in the comments. I lead in silence. And don't go anywhere, because in the next part we'll talk about why subtle signals matter more than loud moves, and how noticing them changes everything about the way women experience you. Number 8. Subtle signals spark desire. When most men think about attraction, they imagine bold gestures, big compliments, loud declarations, or dramatic attempts to prove their worth. But here's the reality. Desire rarely comes from grand moves. It comes from the small, almost invisible signals you send without realizing it. Subtlety has more power than show. A steady look that lingers just a second longer than expected. The pause before you answer, showing you're not rushed. The way you stand tall without trying to dominate the room. These tiny signals send a message you're in control of yourself. You're not desperate for approval. And that creates curiosity, which is the fuel for desire. Think about it. When you try too hard, you remove the mystery. You flood her with too much information. But when you let subtle signals do the talking, you give her space to imagine. That imagination is what draws her in. It's not about saying everything, it's about leaving enough unsaid that she wants to know more. The Stoics understood this power of restraint. Seneca wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." Subtlety is exactly that. It's the ability to hold back when you could over-explain. It's the confidence to remain composed instead of filling silence with noise. It's the calm assurance that you don't need to advertise your value because you already know it. And women pick up on this instantly. A man who bombards them with words and attention feels needy. A man who communicates with presence and subtle gestures feels secure. The first drains energy. The second creates a magnetic pull. Here's the thing, subtle signals are not weakness, they're strength in disguise. They show that you're disciplined enough not to chase. that you're comfortable enough not to seek validation, that you're patient enough to let attraction build slowly. And slow-building attraction always runs deeper than instant sparks. Imagine two different scenarios. In one, a man rushes in with compliments, stories, and non-stop chatter. In the other, a man speaks less, but when he does, his words have weight. He makes eye contact, then looks away at the right moment. He smiles without forcing it. Which man do you think she keeps thinking about later? It's not the loud one, it's the man who left something for her to interpret. That's why subtlety is so powerful. It hands her the pen to write part of the story herself. And when she invests her imagination, she invests her attention. So the next time you think you need to do more to be noticed, pause. Ask yourself, what if doing less creates more impact? What if your calm glance, your relaxed body language, your silence in the right moment says more than 1,000 words? Because it does. The more subtle the signal, the stronger the pull. It's the paradox of attraction. When you don't try to force it, you become unforgettable. If you're ready to let your subtle power speak louder than noise, write it in the comments, I spark desire. And keep watching, because next we'll dive into why control over yourself is the ultimate key to attraction and how mastering it changes everything. Number 9. Respect yourself and she will too. Here's a hard truth: if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. And when it comes to women, respect is the foundation of attraction. You can't buy it, you can't beg for it, and you definitely can't fake it. She feels it or she doesn't, and it all starts with how you treat yourself. Let me paint a picture. David, 52, from Chicago, had been dating Rachel, 34, for a few months. He liked her a lot, but he made a classic mistake. Every time she asked, he dropped everything. She'd cancel plans last minute and he'd just smile and say it was fine. She'd test him with little digs, and instead of pushing back, he laughed nervously. He thought he was being the nice guy, but in reality, he was teaching Rachel that his time, his boundaries, and his dignity were negotiable. Rachel didn't lose interest because David was older. She lost interest because David didn't respect himself enough to set the tone. His lack of self-respect made her feel like she had all the power, and that killed the attraction. Now let's flip it. Another man, Michael, 56, met Jessica, 32, at a gym. They started talking, went on a few dates, and one night Jessica teased him to see if she could get a reaction. Instead of laughing it off or over-explaining, Michael calmly said, "I don't really go for that." Then he changed the subject with confidence. He didn't yell, he didn't beg, he just made it clear where his line was. And Jessica later told him that moment made her respect him more. She said, "I knew you weren't going to let me walk all over you, and that made me want you more." That's the difference. Respect for yourself creates respect from others. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you manage your time, how you enforce your standards. When you have self-respect, you don't have to demand respect. It naturally comes to you. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "You will earn the respect of all men if you begin by earning the respect of yourself." That principle applies perfectly here. If you treat yourself like your time, energy, and presence are valuable, others, including women, will mirror that belief. If you act like you're disposable, you'll be treated that way. Self-respect doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean never compromising or acting like you're untouchable. It means knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. It means not letting loneliness push you into situations where you're undervalued. It means being willing to walk away from anyone who doesn't treat you with dignity. And ironically, that willingness to walk away often makes her want to stay. Women don't want a man they can control. They want a man they can count on. And you can't be counted on if you bend at every breeze. Respect yourself, and she feels safe to respect you too. Because deep down she knows a man who values himself is a man she can trust. David lost Rachel because he thought pleasing her was the path to attraction. Michael kept Jessica because he understood that attraction is built on boundaries, not compliance. And that's the lesson here. If you want her respect, start by respecting yourself. So ask yourself right now, are you sending signals of self-respect, or are you teaching her that your standards don't matter? If you're ready to step into that higher standard, write it in the comments. I respect myself. And stay tuned, because in the final part, we're going to bring everything together and reveal how becoming the man who respects himself naturally makes you the man she fears losing. Number 10. Be the man she smiles for. Think about the last time a younger woman smiled at you. Did you brush it off, tell yourself it didn't mean anything, or even feel awkward about it? Too many men do. They assume the smile was just polite, random, or even accidental. But here's the truth. Women don't smile at men they don't notice. And when she does, it's often because something about your energy pulled her attention. The real question is, are you the kind of man she smiles for on purpose? Being that man has nothing to do with being the loudest, richest, or best-looking guy in the room. It's about embodying a presence that naturally commands respect and curiosity. Women smile for men who radiate calm confidence, who don't chase approval, and who seem to know exactly who they are. That smile isn't random, it's recognition. Psychology shows us that attraction isn't built solely on appearance. It's built on emotion. A smile is a micro-expression that signals comfort, openness, and sometimes even desire. When she directs that energy toward you, it means you've sparked something. And it's usually not because of what you said, it's because of what you carry. Here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the heart of this lesson. Don't try to convince anyone that you're valuable. Don't explain your worth. Live it. Show it in your calm, in your discipline, in the way you handle yourself when no one is watching. When you embody strength and integrity, you don't need to advertise. People, especially women, pick up on it. But let's go deeper. Being the man she smiles for isn't about performing masculinity. It's not about putting on a mask of toughness. It's about alignment. It's about making sure your actions, words, and values all move in the same direction. If you say you respect yourself, but you let people walk all over you, the mask cracks. If you talk about discipline but live in chaos, she senses the gap. Women are intuitive. They notice what's real and what's fake faster than you think. So how do you step into that role? First, own your presence. Walk into a room like you belong there, not with arrogance but with quiet certainty. Second, protect your standards. Don't hand out your time, energy, and attention to anyone who hasn't earned it. Third, stay calm in the face of drama. When everyone else is reactive, your stillness is what makes you stand out. And finally, live for more than just women's approval. When your life has purpose, whether it's your career, your passions, your health, or your personal growth, you naturally give off energy that says, "I'm already fulfilled." That's what makes her smile. Because she feels the difference between a man who needs her validation and a man who chooses to share his already full life. Here's the twist. She's not just smiling at you. She's smiling at what you represent. Stability in a world of chaos. Confidence without arrogance. Strength without noise. And when you recognize that, you stop brushing it off as random. You start seeing it as feedback. Proof that the work you've done on yourself is visible to others. So stop downplaying it. Stop acting like you're invisible. Start owning the truth. When women smile at you, they're noticing your power. And the more you step into that power, the more smiles you'll see. Because at the end of the day, attraction isn't about tricks, lines, or games. It's about being the kind of man whose energy lights up a room. The kind of man who doesn't need to chase approval. The kind of man who respects himself so deeply that others can't help but respect him too. Be that man. Be the man she smiles for. You've now seen the truth. Her smile isn't random, it isn't pity, and it isn't polite. It's a signal. It's her way of noticing something about you that most men overlook presence, calm, confidence, and the kind of energy only a man with life experience can carry. What you once thought of as weakness, your age, your silence, your restraint, has always been your greatest advantage. Younger women don't smile at you because you're invisible. They smile because they feel the difference. They feel the steadiness that younger men can't fake. They feel the kind of strength that doesn't need words. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this: stop dismissing yourself. Stop brushing off the signs. Own your power. Respect yourself. Live your standards. And you'll start to see more than smiles. You'll see respect, admiration, and desire. If you want to go deeper into mastering these principles, consider joining as a channel member. You'll get exclusive content and tools designed to help you step fully into the man you're meant to be. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.